What's up, YouTube? Minnie Minchino here, and welcome back to the Minnycast. For those who are new, this is the weekly podcast blog type show where we just sort of pick a topic and talk about it. But yeah, today with us we have we've got Candido with us.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Um,
Oh my goodness.
It's really hard when you do that because I'm like, I can't respond for everybody, but I'm doing pretty good myself.
When I say how's it going, it's kind of like a general greeting anyway. It's like I don't actually expect anybody else to answer.
But it's like, how do I segue from that?
Yeah, right? You kind of just don't. You kind of just go with it. But at the same time, that's kind of what happened.
But then where do I go? That's the thing. That's okay. You know what? That's not even what we're talking about today. We're not going to address weird greetings. It's fine.
Why not?
I mean, we could for another episode.
Well, sure.
Today we have a different thing on our agenda. We're going to talk about like toy-related stories. I'm not making that pun.
No Toy Story puns, but
Shush.
There it is already. We have to put it out there because everybody's going to think of it anyway. We thought of it first, huh? But anyways, yes, we're going to be talking about how certain toys that we had when we were kids, just basically in general, like certain toys growing up that you had, that you grew attached to, that were very symbolic in some way, whether it came from a family member, a friend, or if it just simply helped you get through tough times in life, those kinds of memories. So we're going to be discussing that today. I figured it would be really refreshing considering the past few minicasts have been serious topics. So I figured let's have a little bit of fun with it, you know?
Yeah, we're just going to talk about random stories that happen to mean something to us, kind of deal.
Basically, yeah. We're just going to have fun with the topic. Why the hell not? I figured.
Yeah.
But I'll get it started. So, basically, when I was a kid, I had, for those of you that don't know who this is, Goro from Mortal Kombat. He's a really big tank ogre-looking dude, and he's got 4 arms. He's just unnaturally built, and he's like a bald. I think he has a mohawk. I'm not sure, but by the looks of it, I remember he's bald, right? So I had an action figure of that, but I remember when I was like 8, I had a neighbor named Bastion, and he was my best friend when I was a kid, and he lived across from me when I lived at the old apartment, and I remember I lent that action figure to him, but I also remember as time went by, I kind of just let him have it, but his parents disagreed for some reason, and they sent him back with the action figure to give to me. So when he came back, he was holding the action figure. Well, like imagine this. Kid knocks at your door, you open it, and he's standing there, and he's holding an action figure that's missing a head. An action figure of Goro just missing a head, just dangling in front of him. We couldn't help but laugh. So we were standing there laughing, but I also knew that I was in trouble because my father got me that action figure. So we were like, okay, well, I have to get this fixed. So either way, we got the glue gun. We got my dad, he got the glue gun. He fixed it. Now, the unique thing about this action figure was you move the head a certain way, the hands will kind of move forward to simulate a punching action. So we didn't put 2 and 2 together, and I go and try to, perform the punching action with the action figure, and it didn't work. The head just flies off. So we go back to Dad, and he gets mad. He's like swearing at me in Filipino, and then he's just like, if this breaks again, I'm gonna get pissed off, and then I can't remember any of the stuff he said, but he was livid, right? So we go to play again, we're all happy, and I hold the action figure a certain way to simulate like, when you punch, you like tilt the action figure and then tilt it backwards to, or back to where it was to simulate a punch, and meanwhile you're just kind of flipping it. So I did that. I make contact with Bastion's action figure, and obviously it wasn't strong enough, and I'm referring to the glue because the head flies off. And we're like, you know what, screw this, I don't want to get yelled at again. So we just take the action figure and throw it down the garbage chute.
Oh, poor Goro.
We're not doing that again, yeah.
Oh no, the poor guy.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Yeah, so I have a story that doesn't quite involve throwing things away, at least not right away. But yeah, when I was like maybe about 6 years old, a lot of this ties back to the why I'm not a fan of Catholic schools video, so if you want to know a little bit more about that time in my life, go watch that, I guess. But one thing I did not mention was that I had a Braille teacher back then that gave me a bit of a Christmas present one year, and it was a white tiger plushie that I named after Timber from Diddy Kong Racing. There was one day I took Timber with me to one of my cousin's houses, and for some reason I managed to get a hold of like one of those price stickers that you'd find on like food packages or whatever. Like those like muffin tins where like there's that big old like piece of paper like looping around the thing. I got a hold of one of those and I covered over its eyes, and I'm like, yeah, it's blindfolded and whatever. But then when I ripped it off, it kind of fucked up the left eye. So, like, most of the left eye design was gone. So, my cousin, in an attempt to simultaneously make fun of me and cheer me up at the same time, I don't know how that works, but he did it, he was joking, going, hey, it's half blind just like you. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna own that. So, it was like, it kind of became a little companion that helped see me through, you know, that tough time in my life where I was coming to terms with having recently lost vision and stuff like that. And, you know, it's just a really, really nice little companion to have, even though it wasn't an actual person I could speak to. Yeah. But it was really great. And I had collected other stuffed animals and stuff over the years that eventually my mom forced me to throw out, including Timber, which I tried to hold on to as hard as I could, but I kind of wish I still had him. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. That's sad. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Oh, speaking of, oh boy. Speaking of sad toy moments, but like, it wasn't really sad because it kind of ended really well. I had this action figure of, Starscream from Transformers. And I remember it was one of the old school action figures. Like, it was like heavy duty metal and everything, not like the cheap plastic you have today. Like, this thing was made of metal, solid. So when my brother got really mad at me and managed to rip the head right off that action figure, I was really surprised that he was able to do it. But I was sad, like really sad, to the point where I couldn't eat or sleep, because I used to like have that action figure with me everywhere. Like, I went to school with that action figure. I slept with it beside me. I did everything. So he saw that it was really getting to me, and he ended up gluing it back together. Good old glue gun, eh? But yeah, the thing about that action figure was, in order to transform it, you actually had to split the head open, which became two different parts for the robot mode. Or sorry, for the jet mode, rather.
Right.
So I couldn't do that anymore because it was glue gun together. So sucks. My brother didn't know that, and I still didn't play with the action figure. And in the end of the day, he was so upset that he did that because Blockbuster was still around, he ended up renting me games for like an entire month straight, just week after week, game after game. So he tried to make up for it, at least.
That still sucks, though.
Yeah, that was really my favorite action figure. Like, Transformer-wise, I collected those, so that was, like, my top guy. And he was gone.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I have a story that involves a Transformers piece, and Beyblades, of all things. So, first of all, shout-outs to all you Canadians out there that grew up with YTV.
Yeah.
I was at my cousin's one time, and he was freaking out because, you know, Beyblade was coming to YTV, and he's like, yo, we gotta watch this shit, it's gonna be amazing, right? And my brother and I were like, the hell are Beyblades? What is this, right? So we watched the show, and, you know, nowadays I can't sit through it, but back then I was loving the absolute crap out of it. And when that little 3 or 4 episode marathon was done, we were all like super hyped, and we wanted to play with Beyblades. But since neither of us had an allowance of our own, we couldn't just go out and buy any. So we decided to improvise. My brother and I had like ring pop rings that we used, and my cousin, since he didn't have one, he decided to grab like a random piece from a Transformer figure that he had. I don't remember which one it was, but it was giant as hell, and it, you know, understandably annihilated the poor ring pop rings, but you know, it was fun as hell, so we didn't care, and we didn't even follow any of the rules. We just like, as soon as we were knocked out, we would just start spinning it again. So
yeah,
it was fun. It was a great time.
Wow. Yeah, talk about being creative, eh?
Yeah. Eventually, I was able to get Beyblades on my own and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Oddly enough, I have a Beyblade story, and it's a really short one, and I love it, though. I remember one summer, my father decided that he was going to make us a Beyblade stadium out of wood, so it was just basically a big wooden box without a lid. It's just solid wood with a nice varnish, and I actually wrote Beyblade Stadium on it because I was a corny kid, and I couldn't think of anything else, and I didn't know how to draw.
I would have done it.
I'm like, yeah, just wrote Beyblade Stadium on it, whatever. So I ended up taking it to our playground because we had like a huge park behind our apartment building back then. And one summer vacation, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw a tournament with all the kids there because everybody's into it. So we put money down and everything, and it was great. We bought cases of pop, we chilled there, and everybody was just playing. And I remember I had like this really cheap Dragoon, and this guy came in, and he had like one of them hacker makeshift Beyblades with like the spiky discs and everything. The whole 9 yards. And so I go up against him, and my cheap Dragoon stood absolutely no chance whatsoever. It got shredded, paint and all. And so he felt bad, and he ended up just giving me $20. He's like, here, you can replace that. Go to this convenience store, whatever. You know, we had a nice convenience store called Food Fair, like literally in front of our apartment, so they didn't even have to go far to get another one. So
Ooh,
worked
that's
out
handy.
Yeah, it worked out great.
At least, but damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of another Beyblade story. Back when I was in grade 5, I was like still into it. It had been going for a couple years at that point. But there was a point where a friend of mine was like, I'm going to host a Beyblade tournament. So, you know, everybody was basically going to go over to his dorm, and we were just going to have a big old tournament, and it was going to be just a fun night overall kind of deal.
Yeah.
I remember the morning of the tournament, I was practicing in the classroom, actually, before class started for the day. And just randomly, my attack ring on my Dronzer F just kind of flew right off.
No.
And yeah, and I was super upset. I was like, oh my god, I can't lose it. I found it, but there was also a nice, you know, crack in it. So it was no longer like, you know, perfect circle and would no longer stay on the spin gear.
Not cool.
Yeah, I was really upset. So I find you know, my friend at lunchtime, and I'm like, yo, I can't be part of the tournament. He's like, why not? You were looking forward to this. I'm like, I still am, but my attack ring's broken. And he was like, come anyway. We're, you know, just chill out. Just, you know, come spend time with a bunch of friends and shit. And I was like, okay, cool. So, I mean, I was still bummed even when I showed up, but then, you know, the first thing he does is as soon as I get there, he reaches into his, like, giant plastic container of things, and he just pulls out a Dronzer F attack ring, which was purple for some reason. Mm-hmm. But he's like, here, you can borrow it. I can't, you know, just simply give you a part because, like, his parents would probably get upset and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's like, you can borrow it for the night and still take part in the tournament. I'm like, dude,
nice.
You are amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So I was actually able to participate. And I got knocked out in the first round, but it was fun. And I may or may not still have a picture from that night. I don't recall if I still do.
Huh.
I'll have to look for it. I kind of want to now. But eventually my cousin actually had a spare Dronzer F attack ring, and he's like, yeah, you can just have it.
Nice.
Because he was responsible for giving me that Beyblade in the first place, too. So, yeah.
No,
so I was eventually able to get a new attack ring, which was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Dronzer F stayed alive.
For a while.
Yeah.
Then I had to throw it out along with the rest of the stuffed animals and stuff that Mom made me throw out.
Yeah.
That was upsetting, but, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, at least you had a good memory with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had, on a different note, we all had this Pokemon card obsession. And so I remember when my dad was around, he ended up getting me a Blastoise card, and he just snuck it on me. Like, he was like, he pulls me aside one time when I was when we were at my aunt's. He pulls me aside and he's like, "Just you, I thought I was in trouble." And so he pulls out a Blastoise card and he's like, "You know the Blastoise?" And he spoke in broken English. So that's how he presented it to me. He's like, "You know the Blastoise?" I'm like, "Yes! Yes, oh god, yeah." He's like, "Shut up. You take it and you keep it." I'm like, "Okay." Now, the sad shit is, we were in a really tight bind because one of my cousins ended up losing a bunch of his cards in a battle to one of the kids at our playground. In order to get it back, or his pile back, I had to give him my Blastoise.
Ooh.
And my cousin was gonna get smacked up by his mom because she spent hundreds of dollars on those cards for him.
Oh dear.
Do you remember the store called Stadium?
No, honestly.
They sold all kinds of collector's items, including Pokemon cards and such. She went there and purchased individual cards.
Oh, damn.
For him.
Oh.
And he lost them.
Oh, dear.
So I had to give this kid my Blastoise. So, like, I didn't lose a bet or anything. Like, he lost the battle, but I took the hit. So he got his cards back, I lost my Blastoise. But this kid was nice enough, he's like, "Here, just take $20. And he gave me a Doduo. I'm like, alright, great.
Fucking really low? Like,
yeah.
A Doduo
But
and $20.
Yeah, till today, the Pokemon Blastoise still reminds me of Dad.
Aww.
The Blastoise has a symbol for me for Dad.
Damn.
But, if you don't have any more, I got another one.
Okay, go for it.
It's about Dragon Ball Z action figures. I had pretty much the entire set of Super Saiyans. And that was also because of Dad, because one Christmas he decided he wanted to really spoil me, and he got me... He went everywhere. Like, he went to Toronto, he went to Scarborough, he went to frickin' Mississauga, and all around Brampton. And everywhere else, Markham's, everywhere. So, just looking for Super Saiyans, because I told him I want all the guys from Dragon Ball Z that have spiky yellow hair. And yet, I still got a perfect cell out of all of them when he's like this green lizard thing.
Still so cool.
He got a bunch of Super Saiyans and a green lizard thing, so...
That's still cool.
He picked out a random one, I guess. But I ended up losing those to my cousin because... Well, I didn't lose them because I traded them for a Pokemon... No, a Digimon action figure. Because Digimon was big at that time, too. And this Digimon action figure could transform. It had, like, the Digi-Egg for its first form. And then you could change it into its Mega form.
That's cool.
So it was really neat. And I really wanted that. And I traded a bunch of my action figures, a bunch of my Z guys for it. And I remember Dad got really upset. Because I was babysitting my nephew one afternoon. And the third floor, we lived on the 11th. I got a call. And it was my dad. He's screaming at me in Filipino. He's like, "Where is this? Where is that? Where's all your Dragon Balls and all this?" So I'm like, I'm panicking, right? I'm just like, shit, what do I do? I'm like freaking 12 and I'm like, no idea what I'm gonna do and stuff. So he's like, "You gotta come up here right now. You got some explaining to do." So I talked to my nephew. I'm like, "Give me all of your Super Saiyans right now." Because he was an avid DBZ figure collector as well.
Right.
So he's like, "Okay, take all of them." So he gives me like 10 Super Saiyans, right? And my dad, luckily, he didn't pay enough attention to the ones he got me.
Right.
So he didn't have a clue. So when I came up and I had like a bag of Super Saiyans, and he's like, "Oh, okay then." So I go back. I'm like, "Can I go back downstairs now?" You know, Tyrus is downstairs by himself. He's like, "Okay, go." I get a call again. Get this. I get a call again when I'm down there. It's him. "Where are they? Why are they gone again?" I'm like, "Dad, I came back downstairs. I'm playing with Tyrus. I have to use my action figures." "Okay, when you come back, you better have them." So I'm like, I'm gonna need to borrow these. For the longest time, he was under the impression I still had them.
Well, damn.
Yeah. So unless you have any more, I think that should suffice for topics. What do you think? Or for topics, for stories.
I have a story about an action figure that I had. I only had one action figure growing up, and that was a Yellow Ranger action figure from way back in the 90s. I took a trip to Portugal with my family, actually. And while I was there, I had received a Yellow Ranger action figure as, like, a gift. Because, like, I guess Power Rangers was, like, huge as fuck over there. So, I come back, and, like, I go to school, and, like, I guess I was cool for 5 minutes.
Oh.
So, like, all the torture and bullying and everything stopped for a full 5 minutes while everybody was admiring this action figure that surprisingly nobody tried to steal from me.
Huh. Thank God.
Yeah, because, like, they usually would have, but they didn't. So there's that. And, yeah, that's how I was cool for 5 seconds at the Catholic school.
Oh my God, what the...
Yeah, so that's my story. It's a weirdly bittersweet one, but there it is.
Okay, you want me to kill it?
You got another one?
I got a funny ass one.
All right, go for it.
Okay, this will be my last one. So I had a stuffed Charizard.
Ooh.
And for whatever, you know that song? I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. That one?
That's an old one.
Okay, that was big during the time when I got it.
Right on.
And like, I remember I was babysitting my nephew one time, and he's like, "What are you gonna call it?" I'm like, "It's Charizard." No, what are you gonna name it? You have to name it and stuff. I'm like, and that song was playing. I'm like, you know what? Fine, he's Jackson now. So we have this random stuffed Charizard called Jackson. And I remember the flame on his tail fell off.
Oh, what?
And so we're like, well, he's dead. Because it can't live without the flame. So it was really sad, right?
Oh.
But then my nephew was young. Like, he was like 4 at the time. So he was really crying.
Oh.
So what I did was I took the flame that was supposed to be on the tail, and because the way the Charizard was, his mouth was open, and I put it in his mouth.
Huh.
And so it signified like a fireball. And then I took a paper, like, I remember I just learned how to use a printer.
Right.
So I printed off a flame. And I had my dad cut it out. And I glued it to the tail.
Huh.
So I'm like, there, now he has a fireball. And my nephew was like the happiest kid ever. And I let him have the action figure. The stuffed animal. Couldn't
you have just glued the flame back on?
I could have, but I wanted to be creative, though.
Fair enough.
I'm like, oh, now it's a stuffed fireball. So, yeah, that worked. It was like to the point where it was just the fireball part that was falling off, not the actual tail.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so I can just take that, put it in his mouth, and it's like a freaking fireball. That looks sick.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
So yeah, and I ended up giving the Charizard to him, and he still had it up until the last time I saw him. So.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
That's actually a really sweet story.
It really is. But yeah, I think that's good for now. So if you guys have any memorable stories about some sort of symbolic toy that you had growing up, please feel free to let us know in the comments or even on Discord.
Well, it doesn't have to be symbolic, just any toy or whatever that just happened to be important to you or something. It'd be awesome to hear your stories in the comments, so feel free to share those. And I'm thinking we're actually going to end up ending it for today. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to check out any other series we've got on this channel, as well as joining the Minchino clan on Discord if you haven't done that already. The link to that is in the description down below. And until next time, y'all, Minnie and Candido are out.
Later, guys.